Bag, I want the bag. Work my way from a garden to a track. Flip it from a track to a plot full of acres. Do it for the farmers and producers and the makers. What we even here for? Occasionally I ask it. I know it's more than struggling, anticipating the casket. Reap what we sow, I'm trying to fill up my basket. Life's a plantation, I self-law and master. Over the plot I've been granted on this planet. Now it's slanted, cause the chosen been supplanted. But if you overstand it, it was spoken. Fractured, but we ain't broken. Even though some would rather play the role of token, we growing. Black through the essence of our presence. We carry the blood of gods, we carry the mind of peasants. Rich black gardens, future look more like Eden. Multiply seeds like the seed banks in Sweden. Rep my planners on plan according to season. B1 code, switching it up is treason. Black power, family what we eat. Either we get fed or we feed. B1AG.
What's growing on? What's growing on? What is growing on? Welcome to B1AG, the Daily Bread Podcast. I'm John Henry Harris. We also have Farmer Brown EMC. Here at B1AG, we focus on agricultural production as it pertains to the Black community, Black family, and welcome Black to the garden. Now, outside it's starting to get cold, y'all. Temperatures changing. You know, we're well into the fall, moving into the winter. And this, you're going to hear, we've been hearing about these two words, cold winter or dark, cold, dark winter. Joe Biden has been warning us of the cold, dark winter, the cold winter, you know. And we're at a time now where, you know, Kyle Rittenhouse, he's gotten off, and that's dominating the news cycle. You know, the Travis Scott Astroworld Festival tragedy, that's dominating the news cycle. And, you know, even the unfortunate, untimely death of Young Dolph, that's dominating the news cycle. But in the background, looming and foreshadowing as they've been for a while now, is this cold, dark winter. The cold, dark winter. So we're going to talk about this today. Bundle up. Kyle Rittenhouse gets off, but a cold winter is still ahead. And this cold winter, even if we look to the wisdom from the Farmer's Almanac, the Farmer's Almanac is predicting a prolonged cold winter this year. According to the reference book, a season of shivers will descend upon most of the United States for the 2021-2022 winter season. So this cold, dark winter that we're speaking of, you know, this is in a figurative sense, but also in a very literal sense. And here at B1AG, we're going to dive deep on this subject today. So Farmer Brown, are you bundled up, bro?
First, I just like to say peace to the B1 family. Hope everybody's doing well and antennas are up. Here at B1AG, we really try to be codified around growth mindset and production. You know, what are the best solutions that can be applied to the melanated family? A lot of time there, somebody reached out the other day like, man, you're confusing me. You know, you talk about Turtle Island, the indigenous, the aboriginal of Turtle Island, but then you go into the Christianism, the colonial, the colonizers' religion. You know, depending on how you look at it, just like we would reference the Farmer's Almanac, just like we would reference, you know, mainstream news, Black grassroots news, there are gems spread throughout. So right now I'm going to come from Matthew 24, and this is so-called King James Bible. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days, that's breastfeeding. But pray ye that your flight not be in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be a great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor shall ever be. You know, not to get on your pulpit, prophecy's prophecy. There's a lot of things that are predictable. Outside of the spiritual realm of this, there are a lot of nefarious things going on. I don't think here at B1AG, none of us were surprised about the Rittenhouse case as we're in the adjacent months, July, August, September, October, November. We think about the blood moon. There's a lot of these things going on right now that are affecting the melanated family's consciousness. Uh, and I'll say in a negative way, there's a lot of people feeling distressed right now. But here at B1AG, we like to come with bright solutions because there are solutions, family. We're not saying that they're easy. We're not saying that, okay, now you plant this seed and suddenly everything's better. But we really got to put things into perspective in this time and space that we're coming into. And so, real briefly today, we're just going to touch on some of the things going on and hope the melanated families tapped in.
Now, even Joe Biden, since December of 2020, has been speaking these words about a dark winter. You know, but interestingly enough, there was also a bioterrorist attack simulation conducted here in this country, June 22nd through the 23rd in 2001, designed to carry out a mock version of a covert and widespread smallpox attack on the United States. Now we look at the pandemic that we're currently in these cold winter and dark winters that they've been, you know, like I said, it's in the background, but also the foreground and looming. Just real interesting times that we're living in. And again, we recently had Brother Leroy Shabazz on our show talking about, you know, what do we do in these times of emergencies and just being prepared, you know, just being prepared. And it's more important now than ever, y'all, you know, just being prepared, you know, with this cold winter. Speaking of these cold winters coming, you know, we're not trying to scare you or like, oh, it's getting cold. Is the cold winter coming? It's a cold winter coming. We're just like, okay, now that you're aware, let's be prepared. Now that you're aware, let's prepare. You know, let's stay ready. So just in case something does go down, we don't have to get ready. We're already ready. I knew that one. I knew that was coming. I already got my coat. I already got my boots. I already got my thermals. Can y'all feel me?
Let's look at what's going on in this space right now. Right now, we're just looking at it objectively, not on either side of whatever's being discussed. So we think about a few weeks ago. I think that was interesting. You're talking about this dark winter simulation. We know the largest farmer in North America, the computer guy, Bill Gates. Just a few weeks ago, he was talking about, oh yeah, you know, we need to spend billions to prepare just in case, you know, terrorists take smallpox to 10 different United States airports. You know, we need to be prepared for this. He had that same similar type of conversation a few months before the pandemic, part of my Freudian slip. Then you have the Travis Scott concert. Depending on who you're listening to, there are portals being opened up. We think about CERN. Within these portals, what are possibilities of what was introduced? And so since that time, we think about what happened with Kanye having that interview talking about certain people, and then suddenly, literally the next day, you have this large concert where there's a loss of life. Since that time, we think about the what went on in Philadelphia. There was a lab technician or lab worker that found smallpox vials inside of a refrigerator. Smallpox is only supposed to be in a lab in Russia and the CDC in Atlanta, but they found vials in Philadelphia project. Tie that to, okay, most of us in the melanated family, I don't think we were shocked that Kyle Rittenhouse got off. You know, however you look at that, you know, it's affecting people's emotions going into the cold season. Think about this concept of seasonal anxiety disorder. That is a clinical diagnosis. They know when it's in, you get in the colder seasons, you're going to be your physiology and your mind is going to be negatively impacted. It's ironic to me that these jolly holidays, people that still celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas, they're in the time of the year when you're your most distressed. I don't understand the science about that, but saying that to say, what do we also have going on right now? China is telling their people to stock up on food. And so, what does that mean here in the West when the people who are providing a lot of the products that we use here are telling their people stock up for a cold winter? We got supermarkets using cardboards to fill spaces on the shelves to make it look like there's more food than what it is. There's also a shortage on baby formula. This makes me go back to the Matthew 24. What does this mean? We have these shortages going on, but at the same time, we have our emotions tied up in these theaters, this war theater that we're seeing. Very interesting times, family.
Very interesting indeed. So that's why we must, we talk about this a lot on this show, is about the ant. We must look at the ways of the ant. The ant is always in constant preparation. The ant is always storing up for that cold winter. The ant is always prepared because he's always preparing. Even after he's prepared, he's still preparing to be prepared to be prepared. So let's take that same approach into this winter and beyond. We preach about growing your own food, at healthyblackfood.com, learning how to grow your own food. This is just one way that you can prepare and stay prepared, is having that knowledge of how to grow your own food. Again, the supply chain disruptions and food shortages, these are things we've been talking about all year long. I hope the melanated family, the B1 family, the B1AG family has been taking heed and stocking up on food. Not only stocking up on food, but really, getting some seeds and looking at different ways that you can learn how to grow your own food. Again, this is not to scare or fear monger. It's just about being ready. Like I said, it's a cold winter coming. Do you have your thermals? Do you got your hoodies? Do you got your snow boots? Do you got your coats? Do you got extra blankets? Do you have candles? Let's be ready, y'all.
You think about the Ahmaud Arbery case going on right now. Rubbing the crystal ball is going to be a unpleasurable outcome, right? Once again, tapping into your emotions when you're distressed, when you're stressed out, when you're worried, that has physical implications on a person's body. That's going to keep you from being, level-headed and able to execute, in a concise way. When we think about the concept of codification, shouts out to the elder Neely Fuller. His concept is producing justice. When you see that you're operating in an unjust system, the way to compensate that, the way to counter that is to produce justice. Here at B1AG, not only do we need to produce justice, we need to produce food, family. Food is one of the things that can control a people. What does this look like for a young mother who just gave birth a few months ago and their child is still breastfeeding? Like I said, this isn't something we just, pulled out of the sky. This is a real issue. When we're talking about these supply chain disruptions, something as simple as baby formula. Maybe you don't have kids in your family, but this still affects many melanated families. We had discussed a few weeks back, okay, maybe this is a great time to revisit what it looks like preparing foods at the house, canning baby food at the crib. Like I said, China is telling their people to stock up on food. When we think about the origins of, this global thing going on, there's something these people know. My thing is information, the truth of whatever's going on, you can gain that from many different areas. Let us not be short-sighted or narrow-minded when it comes to where information is coming from. The other day, so there was a simulation of a switchover of president. Joe Biden had to get his colon cleaned or whatever, and Kamala Harris was president for 85 minutes. a lot of people like, oh yeah, we finally got a woman president. But once again, and this was literally within the same time span that people are distressed about Young Dolph's and his transition. So saying that to say you have all of these diversions that I can't eat these news stories. I can't eat there being a woman president. I can't eat, what's happening with this young man and his untimely transition. I can't eat anything from Rittenhouse getting off of this case. But when it comes to these store shelves being, being sparse, like people around the country are seeing this. When you think about the concept of hunting, we were talking about this a little bit before the show. And so a master hunter, your skill isn't necessarily how well you pull the trigger. It's not necessarily about how well you pull the trigger or what kind of firearm you have. It's your patience. It's your preparedness. It's, let me find a good spot where I can get the target that I'm getting to. It's not an emotional activity. It's very concise. What is it that I want to achieve? I want to catch this deer. I want to catch this hog. I want to catch whatever this is. And so I need to position myself to be able to execute what I set out to do. This might take me a couple of hours. This might take me a day or two, but I'm going to catch what I set out to, what I set out to capture. Here at B1AG, we're talking about capturing a food security. If we have food security, then that makes us viable to go to the next day, the next week, the next month, the next year to plan out what it is we want to do. But the writing is on the wall. We see that, okay, there's a threat in the forest, y'all. Now, do we want to just sit, put our heads in the sand, be distracted from this threat of food insecurity? We can't eat justice or injustice. That, to me, and it's not being disparaging, that's a untangible thing. We know where we're at. I'm 41, so I don't think there's ever been a day since I've been alive where I could expect justice from somebody who's intentionally creating injustice. But what I do have the power to do is decide, now, am I going to grow something in preparation just in case things go bad? And if they don't go bad, I've learned something that I can turn into an entrepreneurial activity. Here at B1AG, nobody has all of the answers, but one answer is when we're talking about health, when we're talking about well-being, when we're talking about security, when we're talking about self-sufficiency. You can't go wrong when you know how to grow your own food. This is one thing we can do in a space where there's millions of different options that we have. But when you can feed yourself, a lot more options open up.
If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And the biggest injustice that we can do against ourselves is just not being ready. Not being ready. That's the biggest injustice one can do to themselves. Not being ready. Have you ever left out your house and you seen the news story? It's gonna rain today. But you left out the house and you did not bring an umbrella. And sometime throughout that day, those raindrops start falling and you don't have your umbrella. Can you just imagine or just remember or recall how that felt? Being caught in that rain and not being prepared. Hunger is a different type of rain, a different type of pain that I don't think no one really wants to feel, because that kind of pain produces despair. And despair, that brings on a whole different type of anxiety that will allow yourself to do things you would normally never think of doing. So if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Now, I tried to make this point using rain, but at the end of the day, pain can be a hell of a motivator. And them hunger pains, I don't need that type of motivation. And I'd hope that the B1AG family would try to stray away from being motivated by hunger pains. especially when it's easily remedied just by planting some seeds, learning how to grow your own food, having that knowledge of the survival skill of just how to feed yourself.
And building networks with like-minded individuals.
And that's the next level.
It's really a time to revisit relationships, revisit or
Community.
rebuild, and cut off the fat. We're in some very, I'm not going to call them tumultuous. They could be classified as tumultuous, but we're in some transitional moments. Personally, I see the birthing pains of a new paradigm. Uh, the sisters out there can attest. When you're giving birth, oh, it's painful. It's all sorts of emotions and hormones. As above, so below. The earth is birthing a new paradigm because this old paradigm where the kids been running things, it's not sustainable. No, sustainable. And so, justifiably so, we got to expect some of these negative things to happen. Not to get biblical, the devil has but a short time. And so, okay, we can sit back and wait, as the devil's throwing all of the kitchen sink at us, or we can get in a growth mindset and prepare for the paradise to come. I tend to believe that there's a great time coming, family, but it's not like I'm gonna go to sleep tonight and then tomorrow it exists. No pain, no gain. There's going to be some work that has to be put into it. Being chosen, for those people to see themselves as chosen, you're chosen to do something. Absolutely, sister, cultivate your skills. Right now, the canaries in the cave reminding us this is time to cultivate our skills. Like I said, cultivate these relationships. When we say the word cultivate, it all grows black to the garden, growing black to the essence of what made us resilient. We know these people done came up with things over the centuries trying to get rid of us, but just like roaches, we're still here, right? When we think about biblical times, don't look at it as negative, because as they were prophesying these negative things that happened then, when they were saying the world was coming to an end, it didn't mean that Tierra Madra was coming to an end. It meant the old paradigm was coming to the end. And evidently, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you if my ancestors, faded away with that end. So us being here today, just chopping it up, is indicative that, okay, there is a survival. There is a plan of perpetuity. But it's like, what are you willing to put into it? Are you willing to put in some sweat and some blood? There's prayer, but what do they say? Faith without works is dead. And so I have all the faith in the world that we got this. But, are we getting black to our essence, black to what made us strong? Absolutely.
That's a whole nother show in itself.
I'm glad you said that, sister.
I am too.
This is the thing. When we think about what are some practical things we can work on, as a melanated man, I know there's issues. I have my shortcomings, right? The sisters, there's shortcomings, but it's like, to be codified, what can we work on? And really revisiting this producer, this protector dynamic. That is a tangible goal to work towards. Am I able to produce and protect you? A part of this protection is making sure you eat, making sure you're safe from these cold elements. That's the basis. A part of this producing is literally producing food. Now, I can produce a good time for you. I can produce, hey, let's go out to eat. But what's more sexy than somebody that can produce a meal for you? That stokes that security, that essence of what brought us together. Because we need one another, family. We need one another. We were created to complement one another. And so once again, all of the proof is in the pudding. The proof is all around us that, hey, y'all, it's time to get black to the essence. It's time to get black closer to what I created you to be. I didn't create y'all to be dependent. I didn't create y'all to be sitting waiting on somebody else to give you justice when I'm the justice. To the degree that y'all connect to where I put you, nothing else needs to be said. Y'all see that these devils are struggling right now. So what are y'all doing to prepare as they go down this whirlpool of eternity?
And it's gonna take the man and the woman together. It's gonna take us both together. It's gonna take all of us. The man and the children. We've all got to be protection for one another. That's really what getting black to the garden is about. getting back to the basics. All this division amongst us, that's got to end. Because again, we have an old saying here on B1AG: many hands make light work. Many hands make light work. The more hands you have on deck, the lighter that workload is going to be. So it's going to take all of us, especially to achieve something like food security, just to make sure that our food is secure. Our food is in the bag. We talk about this bag. I'm chasing the bag. Just make sure there's some food in that bag. Please make sure there's some food in that bag. And make sure that's what goes in first. Because that's about the best thing you can carry. In that bag is some food. It's always valuable. It's always valuable. So here at B1AG, we will continue to push the Black algorithm. We'll continue to push that Black algorithm, and we do hope that y'all are bundling up. When we say bundle up for this cold winter, we are talking about being prepared, getting prepared, stocking up on food, making sure that you get some seeds, learning how to grow, studying up on how to grow food, getting your everything that you need to grow your own food. It's winter now. Learning different ways you can grow inside, planning your garden for when springtime does eventually come, so you can hit the ground running. This isn't a temporary thing. Kamala Harris was temporarily president. Food security is not a temporary goal. This is a long-term, sustained goal that we must be achieving towards every single day. So, y'all check this out. As B1AG, we're going to keep bringing it to you, and we're going to keep pushing this Black algorithm.
Pushing the Black algorithm. Ancestors, they mastered the systems. We raising your bosses, no victims. Planting that knowledge curriculum. Blessing the boost with the nutrients. The darker the berry like Nubian. Dropping receipts like I'm Julian. The streets with that food like Peruvian. Trapping the merchant, the fruits and the veggies. CSA boxes, my package is heavy. Ship across town in the bed of my Chevy. Printing them up, growing hard for that baby. If you stay ready, you ain't gotta scramble. Bet on black farmers and growers, no gamble. Reclaiming our pain cause the game is in shambles. Blessed with that melanin, carry the mantle. Mothers and fathers of civilization. Black to the garden with true cultivation. Building back better through black innovation. B1 community growing the nation. Genetically designed to be the dopest. Stoking that growth mindset. Codified, now we focus. Farming on track on track. Feed the fam, break bread with them. Pushing that B1 algorithm. Now watch me get them, watch me get them. Pushing that B1 algorithm. Feed the fam, break bread with them. Pushing that B1 algorithm. Watch me get them, watch me get them. Pushing that B1 algorithm.
And there it is. Kyle Rittenhouse, he got off. But a cold winter is looming. A cold winter is ahead. Even in the Farmer's Almanac, they're predicting a prolonged cold winter, what they refer to as a season of shivers. Bundle up. Stay ready. It's John Henry Harris here, Farmer Brown EMC. This is B1AG Daily Bread Podcast. Until next time. But if you really want to know something, what do the people need to do, Farmer Brown?
Keep that growth mindset. We're just going through birthing pains, but out of these birthing pains, we're going to have a new baby of a strong melanated nation. So if you really want to know something, let's learn how to grow something.
Yes, sir. Y'all be blessed. Stay strong. Be loving, proceed in love. Give somebody a hug today. That's what I want y'all to do for me. Give somebody a hug today. Just give them somebody. You ain't got to say you love them. Just give them a hug and tell them in that hug. You know, let that hug do the talking. Or fix somebody a plate today. Feed somebody today. And I hope we see you soon. B1AG, we're signing off. Peace.